Hi again. So in this video I am going to show a little bit of a process of a code in ClojureScript that is a little bit more complex than what we're seeing so far. So starting up in the same position that I ended up, I am going to add some ClojureScript dependencies. These are dev dependencies, meaning that they are dependencies that will only be used to development time. So these are the two dependencies that I am going to add. I think I removed something that I couldn't. Okay. So this is the first dependency that I am going to add. It's one that we call complement. And the second one is this suitable. Usually you will have this installed on your global shadow-cljs project. And I'm going to I'm going to link on the video the version of dependencies that I am using here, so you don't have to like copy by hand, by eye only. So yes, these are dev dependencies, meaning that they will be used by ClojureScript to actually have a better autocomplete on the code. You will see a little bit on what it means. So I'm going to use a terminal here, and what I am going to do is a simple Express.js server. So let me just try to resize here. Okay. So first thing, I'm going to install the Express. I think Express, right? Yes, it is Express. Okay. So now I have Express.js installed, and I went ahead and basically copy pasted the hello world from their server, and I am going to save this file as a JavaScript file, hopefully. Here it is. So index JavaScript, just so you see that things are working. Okay, Express is running. I am going to open a new terminal here, and localhost 300, and you can see it prints hello world on the UI. So far so good. Let's convert this code to ClojureScript. Every require will become what we call the import or the require in ClojureScript. And that basically is this format. Require, Express will be in quotes. So it's exactly the same code as this one. So to explain a little bit, require basically requires both Node modules and ClojureScript modules. And if you want a ClojureScript module, you will not write with like quotes, double quotes. You basically write it, for example, like this. This is a ClojureScript library, for example. And AS is how you are going to import this thing. If you want to import and, I don't know, refer some specific elements, like for example, if you want to do const something, you will do like this. But that's not how we are going to import here, so let's just import as this. Okay, so this is the first element. I am going to import Express as Express, and I am going to start the compiler. So this have a target that, if I'm not mistaken, is called Node. So let's just go ahead and watch the Node project. It will start to compile everything. The first compilation is slower, but you will see that after that the compilation will be faster. So okay, if I go to my shadow-cljs here, you'll see that I have hello world. That's basically hello world, and it didn't complain about my require, so everything should be working. Okay, now I am going to do the same thing that I did in the last video. I am going to connect my REPL here. I am going to connect to the shadow-cljs. Basically now I am in ClojureScript Word. If I print thing here, you will see that it prints on my console and it prints also on the terminal because basically this code is connected to this terminal. So now I can start to work on the conversion of Express JavaScript to this Express ClojureScript. So first things first, this tool will become def because that's how you define a global app. So a global variable, so app will become Express. Remember, every function call in ClojureScript starts with a parenthesis, so Express, it's converted to this, and I am going to evaluate this code right now, and as you can see, I now have an app, and the part will basically be this one, evaluate, okay. Now to the handler. As you can see, my paste basically changed the indentation. That's how like the parenfer plus is basically doing this for me. But to convert the interoperability between ClojureScript and JavaScript, you will basically change the way that these things work. So remember, everything that is a function call, the parenthesis will be first element. So to interop with JavaScript, you basically use a dot and then the object and then the method. So in this case, it's like app.get will become .app.get. Or you can also do .getApp. Both work, and I usually like mix and match both if I am, depending on the situation. So basically, in ClojureScript, every string is always with double quotes. There's no such thing as a string with a single quote. So let's do like this. And functions in ClojureScript, anonymous functions, are defined with the keyword fn. So now I have a function and I want two arguments. The two arguments must be in square brackets. So for example, request and response. And here I have it. And now I can do .res send hello world. Oops. Okay. So this is how I convert this element to Express. And if I evaluate this, you will see that it's syntactically correct. I didn't get any compilation error or something. So hopefully things will work like they are. And now for the listen, you probably will see that it's basically the same thing. .app listen to a specific port, and I have a function. Again, it's fn. I don't have any parentheses, any arguments, so it's just an empty. Just empty. And instead of console log, I am going to use println because, well, why not, right? And example app listening on port, and we don't have string interpolation in ClojureScript. Println actually supports multiple arguments. That's why this symbol means it's that you support multiple arguments. So it's basically example app listening on port, and the port will be sent here. And if I evaluate this code, hopefully I will have example app listening on port 3000. And now I am going to open a new terminal, and I am going to use curl again. And as you can see, I have hello world. Okay, wonderful. So app listen works. Let's see what more I can do with app. If I trigger autocomplete on the app, you will see that listen, it's present, and that's because the ClojureScript app, the one of the dependencies that I did add on the project will actually autocomplete complex JavaScript objects. So for example, if I ask for a string and I ask, for example, for match, this is basically the match from JavaScript. So I don't know, ABC, and I want to match A, you'll see that I get back a JavaScript that have A on it. That's basically the match. So the autocomplete, I have like what we usually call IntelliSense, but in a real live project, meaning that it's not getting this information with statistical analysis, it's actually doing it with dynamic analysis, because it can actually run my code and know what app is. So that's kind of cool, honestly. And to be honest, it's a little bit dangerous, because you can imagine that if you have println here and you trigger an autocomplete, side effects will be called. So beware that it might not be a good idea most of the time, but it works. So it's usually good enough that I basically just make my autocomplete trigger with a keystroke instead of like triggering of it every time, and let it like this. So there's a way for Express to stop listening to an app. And in the next video, we are gonna see how this could be really interesting for like the ClojureScript workflow, basically the hot reload that we usually talk about ClojureScript.